Hey, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing? What's going on? What's going on? This Throwback. I'm Sean. Um, Wanted to say, hey, it was a strange Black History Month. Black History Month was real weird, real weird. It was a very strange month. You know, it's like they almost trying to um minimize the importance of us, minimize the need for a Black History Month, trying to Latino history, gay, African. They trying to split it up, to dilute it down. So it was real interesting, real interesting. But then in the same breath, I seen studies where they talking about um, the effects of slavery and Jim Crow and all of this stuff, right? So, but I say all that, right, because the show I came up with was, and I did this a couple of days ago. I wrote the show up. I had it done a couple of days ago, but I kind of was waiting. You know, if I do the show right after I finish kind of what I'm doing, then I sometimes I feel I get too worked up. So I did the show, let it sit, think about it. So this the show. This show about the politics of slavery. Not about hanging and coming over here and rape. Not all of the violent shit. This is like after slavery was over, the reconstruction era and all of that type of stuff. The reconstruction era, the laws, the businesses that was put in place to either legally or illegally benefit from the positions that it put us in, right? So the reconstruction era, you know, and this was like right after the Emancipation Proclamation, where Lincoln freed us and everything. That was in 1863. So they 2 years later, in 1865, is when they started first coming up with these laws and stuff like that. So yeah, the Reconstruction era, right? So that's when it starts. The Reconstruction era starts like 1863. Really, they say 65, but the war ended. We was emancipated in 63, but they say from 65 on up, and then they'll go the next era be the civil rights era in the 60s. So as far as we're concerned, right, that's how they break it down. So we talking about that era of history between the end of slavery and the civil rights movement, when we had no rights. None. No rights at all. Freedom of speech was this was some of the things that the Reconstruction era, this is the things that was limited. You couldn't do. Freedom of speech was restricted, and as far as if you're in an assembly. Like if you by yourself, you could talk, but if it was a group of us, we couldn't talk. It was a actual legal thing about a group of us getting together. So that goes to, and see, now watch the parallel, right? And so now you stand on the corner, 3 or 4 of us, they coming up, they fucking with you. Stop and frisk. Giuliani, not Giuliani on Bloomberg. Legal rights. They was outlawing unemployment. In a way, they was, you know, they be slick with their words. Even though you reading stuff online, they try to word it in a slick way now to make it seem nicer now than what it actually was. So they was like outlawing unemployment, and then right behind that they was like loitering. So you know, if you stand around and you looking for a job but you loitering. So it was always a way where they could say, well, you could say, well, legally I'm doing this, and they could say, well, nah, nigga, legally you're not, because you're violating this rule, you're violating this law. Vagrancy, non-vagrancy, and interracial marriage. Yep. They used, so it was basically, even though slavery was over, they set up all of these laws, restrictive laws, to pretty much where, like for instance, they said we had land, the slaves had took over some of the land that the slave owners left as the war took on, right? So they was doing their things. War lasted for years. So you got slaves that's maintaining the crops and all of this and maintaining it. The slave master come back, the federal government take the land from the slaves and give it back to the slave master, right? Then pay the slave master money to build up his plantation again or his farm again, right? And then meanwhile, the slave master then turn around and say, well, yo, y'all got to get off the land, but if y'all want to stay on here, y'all got to sign a year-long contract to only work for me for free room and board. So pretty much they was they just got away with slavery all over again. See, that's why I'm trying to explain y'all this so that way you can see that, okay, people go, oh, well, slavery ended all those years ago. But yeah, they just took these laws and they just phrased them and shaped them to where they was co-signing doing the same shit. You know what I mean? Like, I think the last legal hanging, they passed they just passed, you see, they just passed the law, the no lynching law. Right? 400-4, right? 4 people to this day still voted against the non-lynching law. They said it would be too, I think they said it would be too specific or some shit like that. Whatever. But, and everybody, hallelujah, they passed it. That same bill has been presented to the House 240 times. 240 times, starting all the way back. And the reason why I could talk about that now is because the first time that bill was introduced was in 1863. In 1863, they introduced the bill. Defeated. The bill got defeated every 2018. Defeated. 240 times. And you can look up online. It'll give you the graph of it was brought up in 1963 1 time, 2 times. It was brought up in this year 4 times. It was brought up this 2 times. Over the years, it'll show you 240 times. So they celebrating. And I'm like, you know, it's funny. It's like they celebrating and I'm thinking they celebrating. Shit. Fuck about the other 240 times. All these politicians, oh, I've been a lifelong politician and this and this and that. So you've been in there voting no against the anti-lynching law too for a while. Yeah. It's spin, man. It's spin. Colleges. All of the colleges. Built by black people. Built by black people. Here. Black people here. Built by black people. And so here goes another thing too. So you see the thing where I seen one thing where an African tribe in over there, IGBOP, something like that. I forget what it was, but a particular African tribe. They gonna try to say that, oh, they came here and they was sent, they know they could trace their descendants right to the island of Virginia, and then they try to say because they could trace their ancestors to Virginia that they built America. And between that and they pretty much, this is what we get. We don't have no culture, us here in America. We don't have no culture. We ain't do nothing. Everything that we possibly did, we got from over there in Africa and all that. So it's crazy. And so, you know, you think about it and you like, when are we gonna take pride in the stuff we did do? Like, we did a lot here in America. We did a lot here in America. A lot. And after a while, they had so many blacks here, they had breeding farms here in the United States where they didn't even get people from Africa no more. they was breeding slaves here. They had put a ban on bringing in more slaves because they had too many slaves here. So what these vicious motherfuckers do here, because they was killing off the slaves at an alarming rate too. Just because they would, you know, so they killing, they got to replace the slaves they killing. They had breeding farms here. So it wasn't like it was just constantly, yeah, they brought over, and then once we was here, they was doing all kinds of experiments with us. Breeding us, this, that, woo, 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 woo. So it's funny, man. Sharecropping. Sharecropping. We're in a small plot of land. We still talking about stuff, things that they did, how they worked us. Sharecropping. A small plot of land from an owner in return of a portion of the crop. So in 1870, 30,000 American descendants of slaves, former slaves in the South, owned land worth $4 million. Yeah, 30,000 in South owned land worth $4 million, and they just took it. They just took the land. They just took the land. There's a lot of people. Just took a lot of people's land. Black codes. Black codes was another thing. Denying blacks equal legal equality or political rights. That forced former slaves to sign labor contracts because we didn't have no rights. And you couldn't vote if you didn't own land. That was the only way you could vote. You couldn't just be a regular citizen. You know what I'm saying? So, what's that worth? You know what I'm saying? Labor contracts to be arrested or jailed for vagrancy. Vagrancy was enough. So if you don't sign with nobody and you try to be like fight the power and hang out, just like you said, just hang out, mind your business. Y'all niggas had us in slavery all this time. I just want to hang out, chill out. Nah, that's vagrancy. Go to jail. Remember the Emancipation Proclamation was in 1863 after the civil. And so 1863 they still making laws in 1867, 1870. The Civil Rights Act of 1866, legal rights to testify, etc. So they did that, right? But then they turn around and then they went through what they call the second phase of Reconstruction, right? After the war, they started to rebuild and everything, right? And so they saying the second phase of Reconstruction was like the 1900s, after World War II, or whatever the case may be. But all of these laws was like, they was like connected like this. They both failed to erase the economic inequalities that originated from slavery. They only just, you know, some of them just, they gave us rights over here and they made a technicality over here where you didn't have to actually get them the rights. You know what I mean? Like, it was crazy. The Ku Klux Klan Act. The Ku Klux Klan Act of 1871. So the Klan been around for a long time. In 1871 gave the government the power to treat them like terrorists, right? So why are they still around? They killed off the Black Panthers. The Black Panthers wasn't killing nobody and hanging nobody. They was infiltrating Malcolm X. They some say had something to do with King and X, and plenty of other assassination attempts. That's what some say. But the Ku Klux Klan, they still around marching, getting protected every week. You know, every month rather. Somewhere, but every week somewhere in the United States they doing this. U.S. politics is like trying to clean it. Yeah, see, so for all the politics been dirty for the longest, man. You know, politics was started by racist people and stuff. They wasn't really thinking about us at the time. You know what I mean? They know we was around. They know we was fighting in wars. They know we was great at agriculture. They know that they learned a lot of even when they got here, they didn't know how to survive here in America. They was taught by somebody else how to survive here. They didn't know how to do nothing. It's tell them eating people. They was cannibalizing when they first got here because they did not know how to survive. But you know what I mean? they'll spin it and make it seem like they was the one, George Washington, with 6 different slaves' teeth in his mouth. They were savages, man. So they did not know how to survive. And without us here, without us helping them out and them forcing us to do shit that they couldn't do themselves back then, you know what I'm saying? They would not have survived. Word. So and I say all that to say, when we talking about politics now, we got Chuck D, Public Enemy. Chuck D, Public Enemy. Shut him down, fight the power. And I should have known he cool with Talib Kweli. So I should have known that, took that for a hint that he might be suspicious. But, you know, you let people rock. Everybody rock with who they rock with. So he's supporting Bernie Sanders and shit. And so Flav come out and said, oh, you know, whoop, he don't agree with it, yada, yada, yada. Chuck lined them up with the lawyer and all this. Oh, I'm Public Enemy. You ain't Public Enemy. And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, Chuck voice and I think he needed Flav. If he didn't have Flav, he'd have needed somebody else. So whether he would have been as successful without Flav, that's debatable. But my point is, okay, so you going after your brother, you going to kick him out because he said he don't want, you know, he got a different opinion with the motherfucking Bernie shit, with this white motherfucker that don't care nothing about black people. Word, you going to kick him out? But then I had to remember, let me take y'all back in time. Take y'all back in time to when Chuck D kicked Professor Griff out of Public Enemy for saying that the Jews run jewelry. That's what this Jew in jewelry, because they run it. Or some shit similar to that. So they made Chuck made him apologize and they kicked him out and everything. And at the time I was young, so I'm still not really politics savvy. So I'm like not really. But now, older adult, mature Sherm, Chuck sold out then. And so we got it. That goes to the next point. In politics, we can't clean politics up, y'all. We can't clean politics up. We can't clean politics up. That's like trying to go into a porn company that sells porno movies and all that and talk about you gonna write Oscar winning scripts. It's not gonna work. You should have went another route trying to do that. So until we get our own pack, our own people, our own handpicked people in the political arena, them politics ain't not for us. Because we don't have the money in there to buy our politicians. Our black politicians are bought and sold like commodity now. They just bought and sold. Their opinions is bought and sold, everything. So trying to clean it up, politics, man, it ain't gonna happen. What you gotta do is make it hurt. You gotta make your vote hurt. You can't do what they expect you to do with your vote. You gotta take your vote and do something different. Word. If you really want to shake up the system, you gotta vote and do something different. As long as you voting the same status quo, they ain't gonna change. That leads to the next point. These celebrities on TV, these rappers, these entertainers, these movie stars, these people on these political shows, these newscasters, these talk show hosts, all of them, they ain't shit. They not shit. Most of the companies in Harvey Weinstein was controlled. So if he wasn't on charge for rape right now, he running Hollywood. That goes to show you what type of shit that's going on in it. So do the math. If he's not on trial, he's running Hollywood, and he still got his gatekeepers, Oprah and your Steve Harveys of the world and all of this shit, lining up other black people, sacrificing people and shit, as far as not killing, but sacrificing. Hey, yo, I'm going to send this young chick up there to you, Harvey, and you could do whatever you do. I heard stories of him raping, grabbing people, ripping their clothes, chasing them in the hallway and all this shit. He thought he was infinite. He was the Teflon Don. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, we gotta stop putting, you know what I mean, Bootsy come out, one minute he talking, then next minute he not. You know, you can't, because they got that money. The money strings is pulling them. Jim Crow. Jim Crow was a collection of state and local statutes that legalized racial segregation, named after a black minstrel show that existed 100 years until 1968. Yeah. The minstrel show was a white man in blackface. So even the name Jim Crow, see, that's the other thing. They get rid of the fuckery, but then it's still Plantation Square all over. You know, Plantation Road, Plantation Drive. But ain't no more plantations no more. We did away with plantations, but it's reminders of plantations all around. We ain't hanging nobody no more. We ain't lynching nobody, but it's Falls of the Noose Road right there in motherfucking Raleigh. You know what I'm saying? We look, see, now watch the parallel. Well, we stopped that slavery shit, but we got Jim Crow laws. See? It's the same fucking thing. It's the same fucking thing. Back to the crooked politicians. They had a railroad scandal in motherfucking the 1800s where just about all of the politicians crooked. All of them got caught up in the scandal. Niggas had to resign and everything. For my New York City heads, see, I know y'all like, oh yeah, that Jim Crow shit, churn, that shit in the South. That shit in the South. For my New York heads, Jim Crow in the North. Yeah, you heard me, the North. Remember Seneca Village? Slaves that lived in Manhattan and was sent out to that was sent out to work for others, and their masters got paid. So how this worked was the slaves in the cities and the apartments, they didn't have no big plantation for them to crop and all of that bullshit. They would take the slave and they would send them out to go work a regular job. Work a regular job for somebody. Do some errands for somebody. Run some chores for somebody, for a company or whatever. And then the person would get paid. The individual slave. So think about not the slave, the individual slave owner. So they was doing that in the city. And remember, you had to own land to vote. So if you didn't own no land, you couldn't vote. So all of these working people, these black people that was free, they couldn't work. So they were just here existing in the United States. And you can't stand nowhere and don't have no job and don't let no white person take care of you or be your benefactor, or you will be in jail. Suburban developments in the North and South were created with legal covenants that did not allow black families to stay together, or didn't encourage black families. Blacks often found it difficult or impossible to obtain mortgages. You know what I'm saying? I seen somewhere people with, one was free in the North and the wife or the husband was in the South. It was crazy, man. They was doing a lot of fuck shit, man. And that's why I had to wait. See, you go, well, why you had to wait, Sherm and shit? Because you read all of this shit, man, and you get, that shit is, they was doing fuck shit. They was doing fuck shit. You know what I mean? So, because look, here you go right now. They started that with the mortgages and the homes back then, and they started what was called or known as redlining neighborhoods, right? And I do stuff like this so y'all can know these terms when these motherfuckers that swear they intellectually superior to us, when they come at y'all with that dumb BS, y'all can hit them with some real shit. So let's say Bloomberg, for instance, and that term redlining. That term redlining the neighborhood. He talked about it. Redlining in the neighborhood started back in fucking Reconstruction era. And it was used in the Reconstruction era to hurt us. So why is Mayor Bloomberg or President-elect Bloomberg still talking about how they was relining neighborhoods in the 90s, in the 1900s? I'm telling you. I'm telling you. He just was talking about relining, redlining the neighborhood and everything. And so that goes back to Professor Griff was right. Jews had their hand in real estate. They had their hand in the jewelry business. They had their hand in politics. They had their hand in the legal system. They was untouchable because they was spending money, because they had a lot of the money situations, the banking system, all on lockdown. Mortgages, all on lockdown. The media, all on lockdown. I don't believe that the anti-lynching bill just passed. Just passed. Word. The last legal lynching was in 1981, Mobile, Alabama. Michael Donald, 19 years old, was pulled out the cell and several KKK members beat him and hung him from a tree. 1981. Not 18. I ain't say 1881. 1981. Right? I figured I didn't do a Black History show this month. So I figured I'd do one in the month. It's March and shit. I'm like, I don't care. I thought I'd try to make sure I fit it into February. I'm like, why? Everybody else was disrespecting our month, so I'm gonna let Black History Month roll into March a little bit, cause they got on my nerves, man. Disrespectful shit. Then I seen my man. I seen the brother Pharaoh. I forget the brother name, but the brother did a link. You could look at the hashtag return the belt. He got a video where he posted where Tyson Fury, you know, when you get your hands taped like this, and this is the only part of your hand showing, he got a video where the glove's supposed to be tight around here, and then the glove wrapped around here like this. He got a video showing where Tyson Fury hand is kind of looking like it's down here in the wrist part. So when he was punching Deontay Wilder, the knuckle part was hitting him and shit. So yeah, I'm like, wow. Yeah, we took it back because Deontay got hurt bad, man. Wilder got hurt bad, man. He got hurt bad. And so looking at some of them knots on his face, I could see, man. I could see where he was getting hit with knuckles. Black history, our history, things we could tell, knuckleheads. Yeah, they encounter when you're in the world. That's a fact. That is a fact. And yeah, the anti-lynching law was introduced for the first time in 1901. 1917 it was introduced again, 1922, 1937, 1940 it was passed, but it was killed by filibusters and shit. Yeah. Here go one. Thomas Mundy Peterson, born October 1824 in Mitcham, New Jersey. On March 31st, 1870, became the first black man to vote. March 31st, 1870 was the first time a black man was able to vote in the United States, right? He was a caretaker, a school handyman. He voted for the winning side. Later on, he was elected to Republican county commissioner and died in 1904. I say that to say this one. In the beginning, we was Republican. Lincoln was Republican. Lincoln was taking care, even if he did it he had other reasons for doing it. Not necessarily he loved us. You didn't have to love us to do the right thing. So you freed us. He set us up with a bank. He was trying to help us get right and everything. So we was voting Republican. They assassinated Lincoln. The next two dudes coming in, they get in there because they had kind of like the same situation with Trump and Hillary, or Bush and Gore, where it was at the end, it was like, we don't know who the president is. So back then, they went and they got it after Lincoln was dead. Then the next president after them went in there and they got together. And the Democrat, they said, okay, we're going to give it to the Democrats. But if we give it to you, you're going to do X, Y, Z. So the Democrats agreed to, when y'all give me the presidency and when I get the presidency, I'm going to remove all of the protection, the federal guys down there in the motherfucking South that's protecting the judges. I mean, the slaves and shit. So when they did that, that pretty much turned the Ku Klux Klan loose. That the Ku Klux Klan Act was enacted in 1871. They freed us in 1863. They was already running wild by then. So that's what they did. So Democrats was actually the first ones that did us dirty. And if you think about it, think about this one too. So if Lincoln fought the free, was on the side fighting to free us, and he was the Republican, the other side had to be Democrats? Hold on. Think about this, y'all. If Lincoln freed us, right? If Lincoln freed us and he was a Republican and he was on the side of the blue coats, then the gray coats had to be what? But it don't matter. I'm telling you, we got to stop looking at it from the terms of Democrat and Republican and start looking at it from the terms of politics. Because none of them did nothing for us. All of them at different times throughout history has sold us out. Clinton sold us out with the crime bill and welfare reform. Reagan sold us out with Reaganomics and the trickle-down theory and all of that shit. Bush sold us out with sending us over there with looking for the weapons of mass destruction and letting Cheney get rich and all of that shit. You know what I mean? So they all did shit. All of the presidents did shit. You know what I'm saying? Going back to Hoover and LBJ, they spying on people and all of this in the black community. Come on. They all did their shit. In 1959, police was called to a segregated library in South Carolina when Ronald Irwin McNair, 9 years old at the time, refused to leave the library, right? 1951, right? He later got his PhD in physics from MIT and died in 1986 as an astronaut aboard the Challenger. That library that refused to lend him the books is now named after him. Bam! That's how you get them back. That's how you get them back. Like I was saying last week, whatever you good at, try to exploit it and be excellent at it, be great at it. That's what he did. He was good at that book shit. He kept pushing himself, and he became great with it. And he left his mark. They had to do all these things because they know look, I say all that to say they had to do all these things because we're better. They know it. We are. Genetically, we're better. So if they give us an even playing field and they don't throw any hurdles in our way and they made it equal as far as economic opportunities in America, we'd be good. They giving us projects and crack and shit like that and all of this. I just seen a thing that Busy Bones did, man, where they started going to rappers and they got rappers, started telling rappers to invest in the prisons for jails and all of that, the profits, and they can invest in them, and that they wanted to promote songs that only really push the jail, criminal, illegal activities and all that shit. I just watching that type of shit. So that's why they do that, man. died during slavery. If it was a reverse and the riches, me more based off stolen inventory. No, I'm looking at, okay, we would have had more. They took land from us by lynching us, murder, police force, projects, crack, academic, methadone, unemployment, low wages. Word. These are all the things that they did. Stolen inventions, businesses we would have had to give. Yeah. Because think about it, if they gave us our money, all of the businesses that we would have, all of the different businesses and stuff like that we would have, because we wouldn't have to look for them to co-sign our ideas and all that. And me and my peoples, we going hard to try to get it done. That's for sure. Yeah, Chuck G, that shit was, yeah, we definitely got to do a purge, y'all. We got to do a purge. We got to start making sure these peoples is out of, we got to get them out of, like, they just got to, yo, y'all could do that shit, but y'all over there, man. Word up. Like, it's just a time where we just got to get them people out of here. We can't be giving them no energy. They platforms that they standing on and they talking. That shit, we got to minimize the importance of that shit. Word. Because we got to start to identify the false idols and prophets of rage. My ass, a Chuck D song, Prophets of Rage. Yeah, we got to start seeing the fake prophets, the false prophets, and all of that type of stuff. We got to really, because we got to stop listening to that. So now, in Colombia, in Russia, and in other places, they trying to kill off all of the black people there. Australia, and all that. And so I thought about it. They doing it there, and they've been doing it quiet. America, it's a little bit harder to do that type of shit, so they got to do the same kind of ethnic cleansing. That's what they trying to do, ethnic cleansing right now, with the alphabet bullshit, and Saul trying to lock all of the black men up and make the rest that's not locked up into that sweet shit and all that. They trying to elevate the white male dominance, trying to make them their genes genetically stronger than ours. That's why they trying to get in with the they want to blend now and shit, so they can have a little bit of melanin in their bloodline and shit. I'm telling you, man. You gotta wake up, man. Y'all gotta have some pride of self, man. People don't have pride of self. Know your worth. Why are we the party for Democrats? Yeah. Lincoln was a Republican. King was a Republican. Yeah, that's a fact. This is from my cousin Pete. The Eyes of Darkness, 1981, talks about a virus created in Hunan that the Chinese defected here, and he brought the virus, and the virus is gonna be incurable and all of this type of stuff. 1981. Word up, can't make it up. The virus came out of Hunan. It was no cure, incurable pandemic hit the world. 1981. So I be telling my sons all the time, to learn shit about what's going on now, go to the 80s. 70s and 80s, and you'll see the things that they trying to do. Because they didn't have special effects then, so they had to have a good plot to talk to you. Before they had all the special effects, they had to talk to you. And so because they had to talk to you, it was telling on themselves. A lot more back then. Demolition Man, you watch certain movies now, you'll see like, yo, that's the shit they doing now. Word up. But yeah, so that's my show. I wanted to do my end of the Black History Month joint to let y'all know that slavery didn't end when slavery ended. Slavery just stopped where they was legally able to brutalize us the way they was doing it. They just changed up their tactics. That's all they did. They still was lynching us. They still was dissing this and that. They just put legal laws on there And so now, because it was legal at the time, when they started telling this shit, they minimized what the brutality was actually. You know, like they say, oh, interracial marriage was prohibited, right? How many people got killed for looking at a white woman? The story of Rosewood actually happened. Story of Rosewood actually happened. Black man, white woman said the black man looked at her, or whatever in the case may be, and it went from there. They killing up everybody, hanging, shooting, shot the lady, shot the dog on the stoop, lady grandma come out talking, they shot the grandma. So just think about it, man. Just think about it. They terrorized us, man. They still terrorizing us right now. They still terrorizing us. And they use the celebrities to help. They bring trot some celebrity out and go dance. Oh, here go another one. Yo, why are all these old and young people at these political functions dancing like some back in the day niggas with some white boy playing a fiddle or some shit? I've done seen all types of Cornel West dancing and all of this shit. I done seen black people stepping. This is politics, y'all. This is politics. This is an intellectual, not even an intellectual battle, because I told you they slime balls, but it's still an intellectual process. In an intellectual process where you're supposed to be thinking and articulating and thoughts and all of this and what's good for me, which candidate talking to my this and that and the needs of my constituents or whatever the case may be. Why is there dancing in there? Why is it dancing in politics? And it's black people dancing in politics. Why is it singing and dancing and rapping in politics? And they ain't did shit for us, and you motherfuckers is there dancing. Why? I see so many dancing and I'm like, what the kind of slave plantation for master and the company shit is this right here going on right now? So, yo, for real, man, we got to get some self-pride, man. We got to get some self-pride. Because if we don't have pride about who we are, nobody else will. Word up. Because you can't depend on the NAACP. You see, they give out images to fuck shit. We got to be the gatekeepers for our shit. If we ain't the gatekeepers for our shit is going to disappear. For real. Yo, I love my peoples, man, all day. Word up. That's why I'll be capping this hard. I love my peoples. I don't hate nobody else. Just love my peoples. And on that note, I'm going to say, yo, love this big Sharon we talk.